Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so what's usually hard about bio is that it has a lot of concepts and it covers a lot of material. And what you're expected to do is you need to understand the concepts, like memorize all the vocabulary, and then try to solve problems based on the concept. So it's a lot of memorization and also a lot of understanding. So like I definitely understand if you think that that is hard. So I looked at your textbook a little bit, and which chapters have you covered so far?
Because like I was in the AP class, but like it's too hard for me, so I found like
Oh,
answer.
okay.
So I got to. So they are not using a textbook. So
Oh, okay, okay.
all I know is we have learned the microscope and the DNA and wires. Those. That's all.
Okay, sorry, my internet was just really bad. I didn't hear anything that you said. I
Okay.
know that you went from the AP class to the regular general bio class, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so like the general bio class is using this textbook, or is it using like a different textbook?
Um. Actually, they're not using the textbook.
Oh, okay.
They just show me the PowerPoint. So
Oh, okay, okay. So, how are the assessments or the homework like? So are you having trouble in the general class or in the AP class?
I do have not trouble in AP class, but in
Okay,
the regular class, I think I'm okay, but I still have some questions sometimes.
okay. So you just want to clarify everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Are you trying to take the AP test in May?
Now I want to go biology AP test. No.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. That's good. Okay, so so far, which topics have you covered for biology, both in the AP course and in the general bio course?
Microscope.
Microsoft, okay.
And food web.
What is that?
Food web. FOOD.
Uh, oh, food web, okay.
Yeah,
So like the ecosystem.
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
And DNA.
okay, okay. So covered microscope. So microscope is usually a topic for bio laboratories.
Yeah.
And you just gotta memorize all the parts for the microscope and like how to use it. And that's pretty much it. And you need to do it every year for every bio class.
Yeah.
So okay, bio for microscope, and then ecology, like food web. And then you said DNA.
Yeah.
Okay, so are you expected to learn all the do you know what macromolecules are?
No, I don't know.
Sorry. Do you know what macromolecules are?
No.
Okay, no. So basically, there are four macromolecules, and DNA is one of them. And so in general, how much did you learn about the DNA? So basically, there's a difference where like you talk about DNA in terms of inheritance versus if you talk about DNA in terms of like what it is, like how it's made up of, like stuff like that. So I just want to know like what you're expected to understand in terms of like DNA.
The one thing I remember is like A equal D and A equal T and C equal G, something like that. And I think that's all. So
Okay. Okay, so like A to T, C to G, stuff like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay,
And
that's it.
like
Okay.
the DNA to mRNA. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So did you learn about the whole process of how like DNA is like matched to like a copy a strand and then mapped to like mRNA, or are you just supposed to learn like DNA goes to mRNA goes to RNA?
Yeah, like DNA, mRNA. Yeah, that's all in the regular
Okay,
class.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay, that's good. Okay, okay, that's good. So you just need to know like how DNA works in general.
yeah.
Okay. So it sounds like is that all the topics that you've covered so far?
And for now, we are learning the wires, battery and wires.
Oh, that's battery and wires for which topic?
I don't know. Let me see my notebooks.
Okay. Because usually battery and wires are for physics. It's usually not for biology.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
asking.
yeah. Okay, okay. So
Okay. So so far, do you need help on like homework problems or like help on you said like vocabulary and like reading bio textbook in general?
now it's winter break, so I already finished my homework for biology. But
Mhm.
how about we goes from the beginning at for the food web?
Okay, okay. So in general, I like from what you just talked about, I think that your instructor for this class specifically, like he or she did not follow like the exact structure for biology, and you
Yeah.
kind of just like skipped around. So I wanted to ask like, do you want to like go from the beginning of the textbook to like have a fuller understanding of like the subject in general, or do you want just want to like review whatever the course was about?
Let's go goes from the beginning of the textbook.
Okay, okay, perfect. So I have a copy of your textbook. I can share it right now.
Yeah.
And let's just first look at the page of contents for the textbook. Just we can have like a very, very general understanding of like what what biology is usually about. Okay, let's see. Can you see the screen right now?
Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, this is the content for chapter 1. It's just like a general introduction. So like what about if you read the page of content and tell me what you think like chapter 1 is going to be about?
Oh, so I just read like the bioship. How do living non-living parts of the earth interact and affect the survival of the organism? That's all.
Oh no no no. The chapter 1, like this area.
Wait,
So what
wait,
do you think this chapter is about?
like where?
Uh, can you see my screen right now?
Yeah, I can see your screen, but
Like this area,
where?
this this part.
I can see your mouse. So
Oh, I'm using a blue pen to draw on the screen.
yeah, that's a problem. I can see it.
Oh, huh.
Yeah, I can see your I can see your blue pen. So
Okay, okay. Can you see it right now?
uh no.
Just the nature of life. Oh, okay. Then I'll just explain it. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So, um, so chapter 1 is going to be about the title is The Nature of Life. So it's a general introduction to like what biology is, like what it studies, how you're supposed to study biology, like the methods for doing labs, like microscope, but it covers more material than that. And it's just a general introduction of like what you should expect for studying biology and what you want to like do to study it. And then for the second part of the topic, it starts to introduce like the chemistry for biology. If you know, like chemistry is kind of a prerequisite for biology. In order to understand biology, you need to have like some basic understanding of chemistry.
Mhm.
So the second part of Unit 1, Chapter 2, it introduces like chemical substances like water, like carbon molecules, and other basic chemical reactions.
Okay.
Okay, so basically, what I think that we should do right now is like, let's look at Chapter 1. It's just a general understanding of like what biology is and methods for doing experiments. So let's go to lesson 1. Okay. Okay. Can you read, can you read the first part of the paragraph, this area?
Your screen's not moving, so
Oh, huh. I think it's possible that my internet is just a little bit laggy right now.
wait. Oh, okay, let me send you a screenshot. See, yeah.
Okay.
Here.
Okay. Oh, oh. I will just restart the screen share.
Yeah.
So hope that it works this time. Sorry about that. Okay, can you see the chapter part now?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I just want you to read the first the first paragraph of this chapter.
Oh, just first thing that you know, my English is bad, so I may read something wrong. Okay.
Oh, no, it's fine. You don't need to
Okay.
read it out loud.
Okay.
You can just
Okay.
read
Sure.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. And finish reading. I can hear you.
What did you learn about this paragraph?
About science as a way of knowing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So basically explains science as a way of, it says, gathering and analyzing evidence about natural world. So what's important is that you need to have like it's an understanding on the natural world, and it's gathering evidence and analyzing that evidence. So it's not like humanities where you're understanding like the human world and society. It's specifically focused on like the natural world, and you need to have evidence on it to like in order to um, create like other knowledge associated with it. Okay, now the next paragraph. Oh, I just wanted to add, so when you're reading textbooks, there are these sections on the textbook where it says vocabulary, or like sometimes it will say something else, like it will ask a question.
Yeah.
Okay, right now this is just okay. So these parts, when it says vocabulary and it highlights a word, it's usually the type of vocabulary that you really need to understand for this chapter. So for example, when you're going into a new chapter, it usually has like, can you see the screen right now?
Yeah.
Okay, it usually has these parts, the ones that I just highlighted with blue pen. So it usually has these sections that has like the key question for this chapter, that after you're reading, you're supposed to be able to understand these questions, and you can test your understanding using those questions. And then there's a section for vocabulary, and usually what I would do for like studying biology is I would write down these vocabularies and the definitions for these vocabularies, and you'll know that you have to like memorize those vocabularies. Like they're the kind of the basic, the most fundamental like vocabularies for this chapter. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So can you go on to chapter to paragraph 2?
Yeah. I finished reading. Hey, I finished reading. All right.
Yeah,
I
sorry.
think it's reading. Yeah.
Yeah, my internet's being very unstable
Yeah.
right now. Yeah, sorry about that. I'll share the screen again. Okay, can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. It might continue to be a little bit unstable, so I'll just send you a screenshot.
Yeah.
Like in case my internet's down again, you can just continue reading the screenshot. Okay, perfect.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's is very unstable. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, yeah. I'm reading the next paragraph. Um, can you hear me?
I couldn't hear it. It was just really laggy. Would you repeat the question again?
Oh yeah. I'm just saying I'm reading the next paragraph. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. I finished my reading. Hello? All right. Mary. I finished my reading. I finished my reading. Yeah, I finished my reading. Yeah. Um, I finished my reading. Just in case, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Yeah.
Okay, are you done for this paragraph?
Yeah.
Okay, so now can you explain what is the concept of science and what are talked about science in this page so far?
So science is a way of knowing the world and help us better understand the Earth's universe or the um or where we live. So it's about okay, I gave up.
Sorry, I didn't hear the last part. You said that science is a way of understanding the world and to understand the organisms on Earth.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, that's
Okay,
all. Yeah.
so okay, perfect. So what are the goals for science?
The science-specific way of knowing includes the why of the Pacific universe is a system composed of the parts of and the process that's in track.
I think my internet is just being really bad right now. So would you mind repeating that for me?
Yeah. So I just read from the last sentence of the goals of science. Like one goal of
Mhm.
science is to prove the natural explanation of for events in the natural world. Science also aims to use those explanation to understand patterns in natural and to make useful predictions about natural events. Do you hear that?
Okay, so that's correct, but I was looking for a more like comprehensive like summary of the text. So it said that science, the goal of science, fundamentally, is to gather knowledge, and in order to do that, you need to first investigate and analyze the natural phenomena, so like what's happening in the natural world. And then after that, you need to explain the concepts of what was happening. So explain the natural phenomenons, and then determine a relationship between cause and effect.
Yeah.
Okay. So so next up, so the next part is going to be about like how to approach like understanding science. So we said that science, the goal of science is to gather information and then analyze the information and determine a cause and effect relationship. So how do we do that? Like, how do we approach this process? This next page should explain that. And I'll leave you to read the next page. And remember, like all the highlighted words are vocabularies. So you're supposed to like memorize them.
Yeah.
Okay. Give you a screenshot just in case.
Yeah. I'm down.
Okay, perfect. So first of all, let's go over all the vocabularies. So what is inference?
Inverse
You
is
can't just read it off of it. You need to describe it in your own words.
okay.
So what do you think it means by inference is a logical interpretation based on what scientists already know?
It's I think it's like a kind of guessing based on the
Mm-hmm,
things we already know,
mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
like okay, I just want to make like an example for this one, and okay, I can find the example, but that is what it means. So yeah.
Okay. So like inference is say like, you know that I'm just going to like assume that. Okay. So let's say you know that a round fruit that's red is apple, and you know that like this fruit is round and it is red, so you can infer that it is an apple.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that. Okay. So next, hypothesis. It says that hypothesis is a scientific explanation for a set of observations that can be tested in ways that support or reject it. So what does that mean?
Like um
Is there any words in that sentence that you don't understand?
no, like I understand it all, but I'm trying to find my own words. So
Okay, perfect. Take your time.
yeah, okay. So this is like the the beginning of the research that like say what we are doing this research or and like what we like finally got in this research, and I think maybe you can give me like the better explain for this, because yeah.
Okay, so like, so it says that it's a scientific explanation for a set of observations. So basically, we said that the goal of science is to like gather information and then explain the cause and effect relationship, right?
Yeah.
So this is like the proposed explanation. And it says it can be tested in ways that supports or rejected. So this hypothesis, it can be right or it can be wrong. But what's important about it is you have to be able to test if it's right or wrong.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So like what's important about this is first, like it's an explanation for the observations that you made. So like it needs to explain the observations. It needs to be like related to it. And then next, it needs to be able to be tested. So you can design like an experiment on it to like determine if this is correct or not. It can't be just like vague enough that like you can't test it. And also it almost always have to be like a right or wrong answer to it. Okay, so the next one is controlled experiment. Have you read the paragraph yet?
Yeah.
Okay, so now you can try to explain what a controlled experiment is.
So the controlled experiment is things that under control by the like the main research. It can be controlled, and
What things need to be controlled? It gave a term specific for what needs to be controlled.
variables.
Yes, correct. So it says that it needs to be that like some variables are controlled and then some of are not, so that it's a controlled experiment. So and then it tells you like what are the variables that are controlled and what are the variables that are not controlled. So is independent variable the one that is controlled or that is not controlled?
The independent variable is the variable that's not under control, right?
It's the one that you're trying to test on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
like how about dependent variable?
So well, you can read the sentence that describe it. It says independent variables are variables that are deliberately changed. It's like the manipulated, so you change those variables. And then the variable that is observed and the change response to is the dependent variable. So like say you want to test if like plants need water to live.
Mhm.
And then what you change is like whether you give water to the plants or not.
Yeah.
What you're observing is the if the plant is living or not. So in this case, the independent variable, like the changing variable, the variable that you're supposed to change, is going to be the water. And then the dependent variable is like the observed one. It's supposed to be the plant. And I was actually a little bit wrong before. Like my question was like, is the independent variable change or not? In fact, like the independent variable and the dependent variable, they're both like you leave both of them to change. And then you control all of the other variables to make sure they all don't change. Okay.
Yeah.
Like just going back into the water example, like for if you give water or not, like all the other control variable need to be like if there's sunlight, if there's like oxygen, if like it's in a safe place, if there's like animals around, these all need to be controlled. They cannot change. And then what you're changing, what you're deliberately, like what you're personally changing is going to be the independent variable. And what you're observing the change on is going to be the dependent variable. Okay?
Yeah.
It's a little bit confusing, but you're going to come back to that topic a lot. Okay, so a control group. What is a control group?
The control group is like the first is like there's two groups, right? And a control group is like the one like maybe you give like that example you made, like the give the plant waters, and like the control group is like okay, the two groups like they both have the same plan, and we give them like different waters and see what's happened to see what just to see what's happened.
So the control group is the like for the water example, right?
Yeah.
It's usually the one that's kept under the same condition, but you kind of like do nothing to it. You just leave it like growing naturally.
Okay.
So like the water example, it would be like a plant that you just like give regular water, like wait. Okay, yeah, you just give regular water and let it do what it naturally does.
For the control group, right?
Yeah, and the purpose of having that control group is you need to make sure that like under those like we said that you need to control like sunlight, if there's animals around, like if it's a safe place and stuff like that. So like the control group determines like if a plant can really live in this like controlled environment. Like maybe your experiment could be just like very badly designed and all plants will die in this house. Like that will not be what we want. So the control group, it proves that like if there's a normal plant with water, then it lives. Like, yeah. Okay, so going next. Okay, you just need to read the first paragraph for this one. The other ones are kind of extended, and you can read it on your own, but it's more just sidetrack of biology.
There's a question is it's not about biology. I just want do you speak Chinese?
I do.
Yeah,
I
because
was
like
going to say that.
I'm trying to challenge myself, so I just use English. So yeah.
Okay, okay. 那我说中文，我是中国
No,
人，
no,
所以
you can keep speak English.
okay,
So because
okay. Yeah, just like
I
if
keep
you want
trying. Yeah.
to, yeah, if you can't find a word for something, you can say it to me in Chinese, and
Yeah. Okay.
I'll keep speaking English. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, just letting you know. I should have said that sooner.
Other question. So like there says like there are two main types of data.
Mhm.
Um, So for this paragraph, it's only talking about the like one of them. What is the other one?
Okay. So I actually talked about two, but it's a little bit hidden. So the first one is this one.
Okay. Yeah, I see. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, I finished my read.
So can you summarize like what's the difference between quantitative data and qualitative data?
No, because I don't really understand this paragraph. So
Okay. Okay, so what is data in general?
like the numbers and or the information.
Yeah, so important part to understand that data is not just like, because when we say data like 数据 in Chinese, like we mean just numbers. But when we say data in like in a scientific way, it means more than just like the numbers. It means like the observations, like for the previous like example, it means like if the plant is alive or not, like how many leaves are like are yellow like versus green and stuff like that. Like these are all data, and like the textbook says that it's a detailed record of experimental observations. So like although it's not necessarily like data needs to be very detailed, but like usually it's like just like the record of the experiment. And then it says there's two types, quantitative and qualitative. So first of all, like for the paragraph, do you have any words that you didn't understand?
Like those two datas.
Okay. So do you know the word quantity?
Quantity I think is like no, I think I know other one, but not this one.
Okay. So quantity is numbers.
Okay.
Like quantity, like let's say like the quantity of apples that are in the basket. It means how many apples are in the basket. So that makes it much easier to understand because it literally means like like the number of it, the count of it. And then quality is like if you say like the quality of this like apple is good or not, it's a more subjective view on the apple. So it's quantity usually means like numbers, like it says numbers obtained by counting or measuring. So it's just like numbers. It's like the most conceptual like data that you can think of. And then quantity is the descriptive involved like characteristics that are not usually that cannot usually be counted. So it's like a description of what is going on. Like say for the plant experiment, like the quantitative data would be, does the plant look healthy or not? Like you can't really measure it. Like if it looks wilted, like you can't really measure like if it's wilted or not. But you can have a qualitative data that says like, oh, the plant looks like it's not healthy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So that is pretty much it for how you should approach science in general. And then
I can't hear you.
just everything coming together. So
Okay.
so yeah, you can read this paragraph right now, and then what's more important than that paragraph is like this graph. Okay.
Okay.
So read that paragraph first, and then like take a look at the graph.
Oh, by the way, can you send the PDF of this textbook to me?
I will.
Yeah.
Can I send that in the group chat?
I think so. Yeah.
Do you mind if I send it in? Okay. Okay.
I'm done.
So what did it say about how like experiments are used? Like just tying it all together. Can you use the vocabs that you know right now to like describe the process of like having an experiment? So the words are like inference, hypotheses, controlled experiment, independent variable, dependent variable, control group, and then like the goal of science in general.
So first thing to do is like the operation. and so you can get the hypothesis. And next things to do is just to experiment, like create um control group and exper groups. And they both have the independent variable and the dependent variable. And after the test, you can get the interpretation, and if it's wrong, it's not like what you think. So like we have to go back to hypothesis and start the new one and the new observation, and finally you get the result that supports your hypothesis.
That's very good. Okay, so that will be it for the first, the chapter 1.1 lesson. And then for the chapter 1.2 lesson, it's more of the description of like how you should approach it. Like here it describes like the attitudes that you should approach it. It's like it's pretty general information, and I feel like you can just read it on your own.
Yeah.
It's more of just like understanding of like how you should approach science in general. And let's start from right here. It's going to be scientific theory. And this part is quite important. So I'll let you read the paragraph, and it's a little bit long. And then you also make sure to like look at the vocabulary part. It usually gives a more detailed explanation of like what the vocabulary means.
Okay. I finished this one.
Mhm. So, can you try to explain what scientific theory is first?
So first is a theory is not same as a hypothesis, and
Mm-hmm.
the theory is like what you get from those data from the experiment, and
Mm-hmm.
the hypothesis is more like the guessing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So, this part it gives like a textbook explanation for like what theory is. Okay, so it says a well-texted explanation for a wide range of phenomena. So we said last time that a hypothesis is like something that's either right or wrong and it can be tested and it's related to natural phenomena. So this is like the next version of the hypothesis. It's a already tested version of the hypothesis. So let me ask you this question. Are theories all like how do I phrase it? Are theories all originally hypotheses?
Um. What of hypothesis? Can you repeat the question?
Hmm?
Uh, can you say the questions again?
Okay, so the question is, are theories all originally hypotheses?
So what means all originally?
So so like if you have a theory,
Yeah.
is it like it has to be the theory has to be from a hypothesis, or can you just have a theory alone?
Oh, yes. No, we can have the theory alone. So,
Mm-hmm. And why is that?
because in the experiment, so like you have to get the hypothesis, and after the research, you can get the theory.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So like the important part, like the goal of that question is because theories are all well-tested explanations.
Yeah.
So they need to be tested. And before they were tested, they are all hypotheses. So theories need to always be like from hypotheses. It can't just like be like you have a theory just coming out of nowhere.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Okay. The next part, this part is a lot about like ethics and just like the moral side of science. And you can also read that on your own. But let's read about biases. What are biases?
I finish it.
Okay, so explain bias.
Well, I think this is the easy one. So like just let me just make an example for this. Like some scientists make a research for the pizza, but that pizza they finally got it like the pizza is not healthy
Mm-hmm,
health or healthy, I don't know.
mm-hmm,
And but there's a science who like the pizza says no, we can't do this because
mm-hmm,
like I like to eat pizza, so pizza is health, something
mm-hmm,
like that. Yeah,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So it's like based on like personal thought.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and what's like so right now on the textbook, it seems like biases are really easy to like detect, right? But in actual cases, it's much harder to know like the biases in an experiment because usually the biases that actually exist in experiments, you're not just like intending it to happen. It's usually like we're assuming that um, I can't really give a good enough example for it, but it's usually that we've learned something since we're really young, and we've always believed that, and we put that into an experiment, assuming that this is right. But it's really hard to detect because everyone have thought that it is right. And
Mm.
if you put that as an assumption in an experiment, it creates like factors that are variables that are not controlled. So usually in experiments, like the biases are like much harder to detect than like what the textbook says. So it's just like important to like always remember that. Like,
Yeah.
okay. So next up, let's see. Why is this not loading?
Yeah.
Uh, okay. Give me a second. The next one should be 1.3 already. And so far from 1.1 and 1.2, what we've looked at is a very general. I do not understand why it's not loading. Okay, let me try to restart it. Anyways, so basically for 1.1 and 1.2, the textbook explains like a general idea of the important concepts in science. So like we said, hypotheses, like data, like stuff like that. These are common amongst all sciences. So if you learn physics, if you learn like higher level math, if you learn like chemistry, these concepts, they exist in all of those subjects. So you need to use like hypothesis, inference, like data, control groups, whatsoever. Like these, you need to use them in all sciences. And then from now on, we're going to go into specifically biology. So chapter 1.3 at first is going to explain to you what biology is. And so let me just ask you this question first. What do you
Yeah.
think of biology?
Like the whole subject.
Mm-hmm.
I do not hate the biology, but I also did not like the biology.
So like what do you think biology really is from so far that you've studied?
It's just oh you mean I have to do like the definition of the biology, or I just say the feeling about this subject.
Oh, you just said the feeling of the subject. Now I'm asking,
Okay.
what do you think the definition is?
Oh, so I have to say the definition.
Mm-hmm. What do
So
you think it
bio
is?
okay, so biology is a study of a study for the Earth's ecosystems, animals and the like the oceans, mountains, such,
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
And
So biology covers a lot of material, a lot of material, right?
yeah.
Mm-hmm. So basically, you're going to see in the textbook, it gives a very simple definition of biology. And what it says is that biology is the study of life. And that's why it's so broad. It needs to cover like ecology, like organism, plants, animals, humans, like all of that, because biology is the study of life.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the textbook asks, what is life? Like, how do you distinguish between something, like whether something is life or not? Like, how do you know like if something is like a living organism or if it is not? So see if it explains it fully. Okay.
I think there's a lot differences between the living things and non-living things, but
Okay.
okay,
So what do
okay.
you think are the differences?
At least the living things can thinking, right? They can think, right? And but
But
non.
plants, can plants think?
Oh, okay. No, only for animals. Okay.
So what
Um.
is something that you can think of that distinguish between like something that's living or not? Like you would say like a cell is living, right?
Yeah.
And a cell is so small, it can't think, it can't like move, it can't, well, sometimes it can't move, but like it can't really do anything else, but it is living. So how is that different from like a rock or like something that you would usually consider not living?
Oh, because the cell is like a part of the other living part. Like cell is a part of our body, right? But and our body is like the living things, but rock is not the like the part of living things, right?
But there's also like cells that are just in the middle of nowhere. Like you know that microorganisms in the ocean,
Okay,
they're
yeah,
just like basically little cells. They're not in like they're not in another body either. So like this section, it tries to explain what what is differentiating between like a thing that is living and a thing that is not. Okay, so why don't you read it right now? And actually, let me see where it is it. Okay, so first of all, let's read this this, oh my god, this paragraph, and then where it actually explains it is going to be in the next 2 pages. So this paragraph doesn't actually explain it, but just read it for introduction.
okay. Yeah, I finished my reading.
Okay, so I wouldn't need you to explain it just now. And let's move on to this part.
Yeah.
Okay. So look at the bubbles in here, like the blue bubbles. It says it gives like the boldface words. These all give a definition, like you know what characteristics are, right?
Yeah.
These all give characteristics of living things. So you have quite a few bubbles there. So you can read each part right now. And remember, like the boldface one, the highlighted ones are all like vocabulary.
Okay. Yeah, I finished my reading. Yeah.
Okay. So what are the three characteristics that it talked about right here?
They all have DNA for living things, and they all like grow and develop. I don't know this word, and respond to their environment.
Okay, so develop is like it's basically another word for grow, except it means like more than just like because for grow you usually say it in context of living things. Develop is like 发展 in
Yeah, yeah.
Chinese. So like it's like a proceeding of like whatever. So you said that living things are made up of DNA. They grow and develop. They respond to their environment. So let's first define DNA. What is DNA? You should know this already.
Like the can I just read the text?
Yes.
Like the all organisms store the computer information they need to live, grow, and reproduce, generate code, writing a called DNA.
Okay. So what is DNA? You need to kind of rephrase it a little bit, right? So this says that like the genetic code is written in DNA. So when you rephrase it, you say like the DNA stores the genetic code.
So they are
So
not same thing, right? The geometry code and the DNA, they are not same, but
they're same in the sense that when you're saying genetic code, you almost always mean DNA, but they're different in that like DNA, it's like a container content relationship. DNA is the container for the genetic code, but you could say DNA is just the genetic code, but it's more of just like it stores the genetic code. And you learned from like class, right? DNA has like ATCG pairs, and the genetic code is actually the sequence of the ATCG. Okay, so DNA stores genetic code. And then what is stimulus?
wait, are you asking questions?
I asked what is stimulus?
Like the like SITMUA. Oh, okay.
That's
Okay.
called stimulus.
Okay. Wait. I think I know what this means. Then let me see. Like that is like the but like the so like the reflection of the like.
Okay, is it the thing that causes the reflection, or is it the reflection itself?
Like this thing does something and cause the reflection.
Correct. So the stimulus is from the environment, and then the organisms, they respond to the stimulus.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's 6 already, but we still have some contents that we haven't covered yet. So do you want to finish them, or should we just go?
Oh, I have to go out with my mom like 10 minutes after 10 minutes. So
Okay. So let's just start again on page 19 next time. Okay.
yeah, sure.
So yeah. Thank you for coming to class today, and I'll see you next time.
Yeah, bye bye.
Bye.